Okay, so question 5, another 10 marker. This is almost without fail the question that gets the least marks. And it's not necessarily because it's the hardest, it's more because people haven't left enough time. So your timing is important. I always say aim for about a minute a mark. Okay, uh, 10 minutes reading, then a minute a mark. Now that, if you think about it, you've got 40 marks in total, about 10 minutes reading, minute a mark, that takes you up to about 50 minutes. That gives you a chance to reread things, to if necessary, if you overrun a little bit, that's okay. But stick to, you do need to try and stick to those timings. Many students run out of time and hardly have an opportunity to write much for number 5. And it's not necessarily the hardest question. We're asked here in this question, we're asked to look at the whole passage. That's the hard part. You're looking at the whole passage and you're tracking the events all the way through. We're asked to consider how the writer, well, first of all, it says, how far do you agree that the writer builds tension successfully? Now, you just agree, okay? Don't bother trying to discuss whether it is or it isn't. You just agree. You agree that the writer is successful. You state that at the start. I think the writer is successful at building tension. And then you pick out maybe 6, maybe 7 little things that show that gradual build-up of tension. So you might start off, things you might pick out, the way the tiger starts growling. It's a low, quiet growl, a bit half-hearted. Okay, and that's just the beginning of the danger. It turns its head slowly. Okay, the adverb slowly, until, and then its body follows until it looks at him again. That would increase the tension. You've got a lot of references to the power and the beauty of the tiger, and we're never quite sure at this point whether it's more beautiful or more dangerous. It's that uncertainty that adds to the tension. That little detail we mentioned in an earlier video about how the tiger shows its tooth coyly or sort of almost teasingly. It sort of starts to hint at its power and its danger. Pi himself, the narrator, he's at that point is clearly terrified. So at this point the tension's risen. He says that every hair on his head is standing up, shrieking with fear. That verb, shrieking with fear, is clearly raised the tension. And you'll be aware that you are repeating stuff from earlier on, and you have to do that in question 5 because you're looking back at the whole of the passage. You might talk about the rat, the way the rat sort of darts around the boat and then ends up jumping on the narrator's head. That sort of movement of the rat around, that would gradually build attention. What's it going to do? Is the tiger going to go for it? But when it leaps on the narrator's head, that would be a clear moment of tension. The tiger's eyes fix clearly then on Pi's head, so we expect something dangerous to happen. We've got the references to its size, the repetition of so big for the pause, all the time, this sense of growing danger. And the teeth, the description of the teeth, using that metaphor of the battalion, stuff we've mentioned before, but it's okay to mention again. And then you've got that sort of breaking tension towards the end, where the narrator feels that the tiger loses its momentum. The tiger feels a bit uncomfortable on the tarpaulin. It gives the narrator a chance to sort of think about things. The relief when the tiger eats the rat, that sort of slows things down a little bit. And then when his legs start to work again, that sort of breaks the tension. He starts to become normal. But the ending is a bit sort of uneasy, isn't it? It says that he blocked the open space between the bench and tarpaulin. Never quite sure, is this going to succeed or isn't it? So you've got a number of things. It is quite tricky. Any sort of discussion of how a writer creates tension, you're looking at the small details, the way the writer withholds things, the way the writer slows things down, the way the writer hints at things, all of those things. It's about picking them out, quoting, writing a little bit of, this makes us think, this makes me imagine, this suggests that. where you can, put in some of your terminology, your adjectives, your adverbs, your imagery, anything like that. Even just this word, this phrase. Okay.